All right. Hi, everyone. We're hosting a new consultant training for Team Dreamatology, and we have a couple of guests on, but the idea is that we'll record this and have it out in our kind of massive training library for your new consultants as you build your team. So this is great. So I want to thank my live guests. I've got Jen and Scott Klein, Jan Schweitzer, guessing at some name pronunciations, Janet Keach. We're happy to have you on, and Andrea, and we'll just kind of keep adding. We'll see some new people pop on as we go. And just, I've kind of themed this Spark Your Start because we have a phenomenal program called Spark that's about helping consultants get off to a really fast start and rewarding you for that. So before we dive in, I just want to congratulate everyone, whether you've just joined us, this week or this month or since the beginning of the year, whatever the case may be, you've made an extraordinary decision. One that will change your life undoubtedly through the product experience, through our community of entrepreneurs, and through the business experience as well. My super quick story, I was kind of a hard-charging executive feeling some serious burnout. After a huge downturn in the economy. I had 2 little kids at home, and I was just craving more time with them, but had no clue how that was going to happen. I was the primary breadwinner in my home. This business fell in my lap just through a good friend of mine, a very kind of unexpected turn of events. She's kind of the last person in the world you would think would do network marketing, and then I was the second to the last person in the world. But when I heard the story of the doctors, I was intrigued. And it was actually my husband who said, Bridget, they've already created $1 billion brand. What are they going to do on the coattails of that and on the shoulders of that? And I just jumped right in after he said that. I was like, okay, I'm signing up. And, in a really short period of time, it made a big difference in my life. By the second month, we were paying the mortgage with this business. And I don't care who you are. You have a cool side gig that's residual, that's paying your mortgage, it's golden. But what I really fell in love with was the community behind this, the real uplifting of others, this kind of empowering community of Rodan Fields. And I kind of had this love affair with my business because I was working full time. I was a director of marketing for a software company. And I think they thought something was up because they were watching me like a hawk. And I would sneak out to my car and I would do, 3-way calls at lunch. And, I just tucked it in the nooks and crannies. I live in a small town, so I have a really short commute, but I use every minute of that commute to make calls and to do these activities that I'll be outlining for all of you. So it was just a really phenomenal time. Within just a couple of months, in business, probably at about the 6-month mark, we were already earning $3,000-4,000 a month, which was just beyond game changing and beyond any even annual expectations that I had. And I was able to walk away from my day job at 14 months, got my Rodan Fields paycheck, my regular paycheck, and I was like, this is ridiculous. There's no way I need to be sitting at a desk working for a boss when I can move my office into my home and build a business around my family's priorities instead of a CEO's priorities. And that's exactly what I did. And that was 6.5 years ago. And since then, I just feel, I've grown as a person. My husband and I are giving back more to causes that we care about. And of course, our own family, our lives have changed with, and you'll see throughout this presentation, with just a whole range of travel and adventure and time freedom that I had never, ever known before in my life. So congratulations for making a decision to do this and for whatever your reasons are. And trust me, the reasons that people do this business are so varied. And the thing we all have in common, though, is that we're willing to, well, I'll dive into this, but we're willing to, work this system. We're willing to be coachable, learn the basics, learn the fundamentals. This is not rocket science, okay? It is a simple system that we learn, and then we learn to follow, and then we duplicate, okay? And you can build any kind of business in Rodan Fields that you want. You can build a robust customer base that just gives you all kinds of great kind of right now money, pays the bills, really is life-changing on all kinds of levels, and you change people's lives with the products. or you can build a large team along with your preferred customer business and change lives through a more of a distribution mindset. So we'll go through both of those, but it all starts with the same fundamentals, you guys. So this graphic on the right is called our cycle of success. All right, and this is kind of the simplest, deconstructed, steps of our business. We're a product of the product, so we're going to use the products and, get compliments on our skin. I know I was 44 when I started, and I felt I looked older then than I do it. I'll be 52 very soon, and I feel that I looked older, 8 years ago. So I'm a product of the product. I've totally tapped into my reason why. We're going to talk about that. Work my list and my kind of lifestyle, network marketing. I've got a powerful short story. I'm a great inviter, and I use this business to connect others and connect myself into the community. So what it takes to be successful is just coachability. You're self-motivated, and belief. Belief and enthusiasm trumps everything in this business. So I'll give you some tips and ways to really jump in and believe in the products and the business, even though maybe you're just a couple of days in, a couple hours in. How do I get to my goals faster? How can I spin this little wheel faster to get to my goals? And it again, kind of simply, but it's enthusiastic action, massive action, not overthinking this and feeling that you have to study and become an expert first, but jump in and learn along the way. That is the most powerful way to get to your goals, which are usually monetary in the beginning, to pay your kit back, to create what we call a check story. So that first, I paying the mortgage in 2 months, made a car payment in my first month. How you get to go faster is voice to voice. This is a face-to-face, belly-to-belly, voice-to-voice business. And while we can use the tools of social media, we don't want to be hiding behind them. And I'll give you guys some tips and things on how to make that happen. You want to jump on and schedule your launch right away. Actually, we have Jan listening in. She did exactly that, had, I think, 18 people at her launch. We couldn't even place those orders fast enough. It was awesome, and those customers are still with her today. And she's built a great business and just jumped right on that. And then doing 3 to 4 three-way calls in your first week, and we'll talk about those too. So those are kind of those tips to be coachable, but just jump on and the little quote at the top was mentioned by one of my rock stars in the company, one of my Canadians actually. Just go and do. She's like, I got 4 words for you. Just go and do. All right, so I think that's great advice from a top executive. I just want to remind you guys, this is your virtual franchise. You have a business in a box. So you're all enrolled, and my simple advice here is just, just get to know your website. We want to help you place a preferred customer order right away. A quick little tip there. I actually just helped a new consultant place our first order this morning. And you want to use a paper form, and we'll create those accounts for your PCs. One of the things you learn really quickly is just sending your website to someone does not an order make. We have to kind of concierge the process and bring that kind of Neiman Marcus or Nordstrom level service to the table. So if I have someone who's interested in the products, I get on the phone, I fill out one of these babies, one of these preferred customer forms, and put it on paper, and then I go in and create the accounts. That's probably the best tip I can give you when it comes to customers, because I think I spent the first 6 months of my business just kind of, working really hard to get people to click that link and go do it themselves, okay? So just spend some time. You've got a front office or, place where orders can be placed and you can enroll new partners, and you have a back office. And your back office has a mobile version too that you can download right off of the App Store. The Rodan Fields has several apps, but if you go to the mobile app store and type in Pulse, you can download this cute little mobile app that really helps you manage your team as your team begins to grow and get bigger, and as well as your customer orders. All right. I'm not going to do a deep dive on your Pulse Business Suite, only to let you know that everything's kind of at your fingertips. I'm a very visual person. The photo that you see here in mine was put there 7.5 years ago. And I wrote a little poem just to remind me, and we have lived that life several times over and it was not part of our life, big open water and boats. And scuba diving and trips to Cancun, and were things that were way beyond our budget. And it's just amazing sometimes when you put these kind of visual things in front of you, especially in your back office when you're in there on a regular basis, and they remind you why you're doing this business. Okay, so I think in another training, I'm more than happy to go through this Pulse back office. Your sponsor is going to do this with you, but I just kind of wanted to pull it to the forefront. These little buckets here, the one that says 170 and your PSQV, we're going to talk about those a little bit later. They are your kind of qualifying numbers, and they'll be important to track over time. And so my sales volume says 170 because at the time I snapshotted this, I must have bought $170 worth of product for me. So sales volume is what I spend, and my PSQV is what my customers and my consultants spend, and that rolls up into my PSQV number. In Rodan Fields, to be a commissionable executive consultant, you only have to have 600 in PSQV, but that number can be as big as you want. Kind of like your bank account. Do you want to run your bank account by the minimum requirements that your bank says you need to have to get free checking, or do you want to put the maximum amount in there? So that PSQV number is yours to build, and you'll see that in your back office as you grow your business. All right. So this next slide is just a real reminder that the brand is already proven. And I find a pitfall that new consultants have is they feel that they need to validate this, that they need to use the products and the products need to work on them before they can then go share it with others. As if their validation is, greater than, an Oprah magazine or, being the #1 skincare brand by a top research firm. And I get it. We want to make sure those products work on us, but we normally feel that in about 2 days. And so I really try to help new consultants understand that we're not the message, we're the messenger. Sarah Robbins, who is an upline leader whose name you'll hear regularly, she has a great analogy. You're just pouring the coffee. We're just pouring the coffee, right? So we don't have to be the coffee. We don't have to be the coffee maker. We really just get out there and share this and allow people to connect into Rodan Fields through us. But we're not the thing they're connecting to. They're really connecting to this business, to these tools, to these doctors, and this brand that has grown, phenomenally well. And you can hang your hat on this. This Oprah magazine just came out in the last couple of days. And so, to have this kind of endorsement, this was my old profession, was public relations. And let me tell you, getting a product in Oprah magazine is just an extraordinary feat. And we've been in there several times, as well as on the Today Show and in Forbes magazine. And, we can just go on and on. We've gotten the accolades. We've been recognized as the top 10 women entrepreneurs in the U.S. Right up there with like Beyonce and Oprah. We're on those lists. And so these two doctors have done extraordinary things. And the benefit to you is you get to just jump on and ride those coattails and not have to recreate any wheels whatsoever. So speaking of which, just springboarding off of that, the first step that you're going to take in this business is to focus on your why, which really kind of tumbles out of your belief in what you're doing and why you're doing it, and kind of this purpose that inspires you. I have a picture of the doctors there because so much of our culture really is this amazing extension of these two women who are accomplished, who'd never done this industry before. They came in to redefine it, but it's really what they're setting is two things, is empowerment and teamwork. Empowering others and teaming up to do it. So it's a very kind of powerful legacy that they've created, and we get to grab a hold of that and decide, what's going to inspire each of us, what's going to kind of keep us excited and building this business long term. Because honestly, there's going to be some ups and downs. You're going to get some no's. You're probably, if you're doing this right, you're going to get a lot of no's. And I call your why kind of helping make you bulletproof. All right. Anytime I share why I'm building this business, I'm building it for, my children and this lifestyle and to give back more, those no's just kind of think, they just kind of bounce off my armor because I'm in this with, a very big vision and purpose for what I want to create. There's a great Simon Sinek video on YouTube if you've never seen it. I think it's kind of become part of popular culture. But if you haven't, his last name is spelled S-I-N-E-K, and he has a book out about this, but you can actually watch the video and get it all in about 5 minutes. People don't buy what you do, they buy into why you're doing it. And so spending time to, visualize that why, thinking about those possibilities that lie ahead for you, and working with your sponsor to get clear on this. A couple of tips about your why. I really encourage people to develop a why that's something that they're gravitating towards, that they're running towards, not something they're running away from. So, I was running towards that lifestyle that I wanted of freedom and travel and things that I'd never had growing up relatively poor. My father passing away when I was young, leaving us with lots of medical bills, and, my mom kind of remarrying into, we just never had that money to travel and do things. And so that to me was what successful, wealthy people did. They traveled and I was never that. So my why was a lot about those things that I didn't have in my life, and those things that really kind of drove me deep down inside. I did have a job I hated, but I wasn't running away from that. I wasn't sure when I could let go of that job. I was running towards a lifestyle, not away from something. And I think that's a great tip as you're thinking about your why, is something you want to create in your life, something you want to realize. All right. So that's about your why. Again, the doctor's why is about, empowering others, as business owners. They want to disrupt this whole kind of world of social commerce and dermatology, to help us kind of live more, give more, and be more. And so I'm always daily inspired by these two women. They're truly incredible. And then the next part is your story. And your story is kind of an interesting combination of your why and what you see in the Rodan Fields brand, all right, and how you hope this will change your life, all right? And there's a great worksheet in your back office on kind of writing and creating your story, a well-packaged story. And I actually have a recorded storytelling workshop that I'm happy to share with you guys. A well-packaged story is probably your most powerful tool. Being comfortable in your story, kind of rehearsing your story and role-playing it with your business partner is huge, because once you have it down, you don't really have to think about it. And so you can have that excitement and enthusiasm, and the words are just going to come tumbling out because you've really thought about it. You've written it out in advance. My story, I don't have it written out here, but I actually have it written out. And sometimes when I do presentations online or whatever, I'll just kind of read it right down there in front of me. But I've always made a habit. I revisit my story about every year to make sure that it's super fresh, and I'm enthusiastic to tell it over and over again. All right. And then we're going to dive in a little bit deeper on kind of your goals and your possible path. And there's some great recognition and rewards if those things are important to you. I will tell you that I've just never been in a world where there's so much recognition and rewards for, building a business. And it comes from your team leaders, it comes from our community, and it comes from the company. And it's proven to be a really gratifying culture. There's just so many things out there, starting with the $1,000 bonus for Spark. We have a great jewelry recognition program. I'm so proud of my Rodan Fields jewelry. I have an RFX bracelet that I just treasure because I know what it took to get there. And Jan, I think you have a bracelet. I know others have them. We have a great program called Lead the Way. We'll touch on those. And then, as you build, if you decide you want a team build, your first big step is a concierge trip for 2 to some really amazing locations like Banff and New York City and Nashville, and just some really cool destinations. And the company really wants to kind of spoil you at that level 5 circle level. Okay. All right. So we're kind of still in the basics. We have like 2 or 3 more slides on the basics. When I think about this company, Rodan Fields has built the brand. They are innovating and bringing disruptive products to the market. They've got all the technology tools for us too. So what is it that we bring, right? So what is our unique offering as we start to build this business? The biggest thing is that we bring our list, right? We bring our list of people. And the tips that I have for you guys, and none of you have to write this stuff down. I should have said that sooner, but I have copies of this. So you guys don't have to write every little word down. Just get those big concepts. Is you do not want to prejudge this for others. Do not decide for them. Do not make a list of customers and a list of potential business partners. Make a list, just one. Because we want to talk to all of them. And we want to see, do they want to come in as one of 3 C's? Do they want to come in as a connector? Do they want to help, tell us, give us referrals? Do they want to come in as a customer, or do they want to come in as a consultant? So it's our job just to tell the big story. All right, not tell a product story to someone or just a business story to someone, but tell the big story and tell your story. And share what you find so compelling about this company and let them decide. I think that's the professional and smart thing to do, is let others really decide. And we have some great tools like the memory jogger and other things to kind of help you do some of that brainstorming. Another little tip about building your list is to write it down. One of the biggest mistakes is to keep it in your head, because just like your grocery list, you get to the store and you can only remember about 5 or 6 things. Well, we, at the age that most of us are, we know 2,000 to 3,000 people. They're in our phone, they're on Facebook, they're in our high school alumni books, they're in any number of places. And so just making sure we're writing those lists down, because once we write them down, then our brain kind of empties and then we can think of more. It's when we keep them all in our head that our universe seems really small. But our universe is really big. And I also like to think about, it's not always who I know, it's who needs to know about this business. So we'll talk about lifestyle marketing in just a minute. I have a huge sense of urgency as I'm reaching out to my list, and that creates a lot of forward momentum for me in my business. Rodan Fields only has 30% unaided awareness. We will be a company that has 100% like Nike or Netflix, but today, we're only at 30%. We still have 70% of our US market. That's even globally, our unaided awareness is super low. But in the US, it's 30%. And this is the team. These are the people that are going to grow this to 100% over the next couple of years, however long that takes. But I have a sense of urgency to kind of reach out, because I know we have market share of around 5%, but unaided awareness of about 30%. So that leaves me with 25% of the population who knows about it and hasn't taken action yet. That's exciting. Like, that gives me a sense of my feet hit the ground in the morning, and I want to make sure that everyone in my network is aware. All right, and then that urgency comes with enthusiasm and this willingness to kind of dive in and earn as you learn. All right, okay. Lots of opportunities to learn about the product. It's not core to today's presentation. I just grabbed a little screenshot out of your back office. This great new document called the Product Learning Guide. So that's all this is. You can jump back into Pulse and grab that. But how you get to know the products is in a couple key ways. You're going to become a product of the product. You're going to have great assets like the Product Learning Guide. You get a brochure, which I don't have one sitting here, but you get a beautiful brochure in your kit. And when I first started, I just carried that brochure around in my purse. Like, it just took it with me everywhere. And so when somebody, called or got back to me on a message and said, oh yeah, what do you have for sensitive skin? I literally would open the brochure and I would go, well, we have this Soothe product that's a just read from the book. You can bring your business partner in on a conference call to help educate your new people about the products. The solution tool, which is the link on your website. Your website alone is a great way to learn about the products. When you do your launch event, you're going to learn a ton, because you're going to have a room full of people asking you questions. And your business partner can be there with you live, or they can Zoom in. And then we also have a site called the RF Connection. And I should have pointed it out, but back on that page with the, it had my photo of the sailboat, there was a couple links over there on the left-hand side. And there's a link to the RF Connection, and it's all about the products. Kind of a searchable big database, ingredient, formulations, sunscreen levels, answering all kinds of questions. Okay, so that was chapter 1, you guys. That was the basics. And I kind of did it this way. So if somebody is watching this on replay, they can be like, okay, great. That was enough information for me today. I'm going to bookmark this and I'm going to watch chapter 2 later. Okay. You guys are lucky because we're going to power through a lot of this. I haven't seen any hands go up. Feel free to type a message in the chat if you have a question that you want to make sure or jot it down and we can answer them at the end. So chapter 2, and so for a lot of you, you're like, okay, that was kind of review because those are the things that your business partner probably shared with you when you first joined. Chapter 2 is kind of my take on the kind of goals and strategies, and there's some really specific language in here. Once again, you do not need to write this down because you're going to get a copy of this presentation. I'm going to mail it out and I'll post it back on the Dream Team 2.0 page, so you'll have it. So don't feel rushed, okay? So let's talk about some of the goals and strategy and language. All right, so on your goals, we want to get real, we want to get clear, and we want to get going, all right? Set your sights on earning your Spark bonus, okay? We know that Spark earners earn 4 times. They have a PSQV of 4 times other consultants, okay? Momentum, what Spark is really creating, the Spark program is about hitting executive consultant in your first full month of business, and we're going to talk about executive consultant here soon. It's selling a certain number of product, and it's the wholesale kind of value of those products, which creates that executive consultant number for you. We're going to build a balanced business, or you can build one or the other. I mean, one of my strongest business partners out in the DC area, honestly, she wants her team to go build the product business. She's not interested. She's former Air Force. Her husband works at the Pentagon. And she says, I probably only have 10 customers in 6 years in business because I just want business partners. And that's cool. I coach a balanced business because I believe preferred customers are just your future business partners in waiting. And so I'm more than happy to kind of lock them up as my customer so that they're not kind of sitting out there for somebody else. So I like the balanced business approach. She's all in she just wants business partners. She doesn't even want to deal with preferred customers. And then there's some people who just love the preferred customers. And the great thing about Rodan Fields is that our comp plan rewards all those activities really, really well. All right. There's a 30, 60, 90-day goal sheet. So that's what I would do is line it right up with the Spark program and say, you know what, in my first 30 days, I'm going to become an executive consultant. I'm going to at least hit that 600 mark, which for most people is 4 product orders or 1 brand new consultant on their team. I have Jen and Scott who hit executive consultant in their first 5 days, I think, of business. So it's not Herculean. It's it's enrolling that first business partner. It's having an event, getting those first customers on board, taking advantage of some kind of bundle or promotion within Rodan Fields. Part of the key is to work with your sponsor every day. Do not let a day go by that the two of you are not communicating with one another, okay? And try as best you can. I know we all get really busy, and I do this sometimes too, but make sure you do that as much voice-to-voice as you can. Texting is super efficient, but it's hard to text somebody into success in this business. So you want to make sure you're kind of scheduling some regular conversations. Being accountable to your goals, following that simple system, and talking to everyone with skin. I mean, that's kind of the beautiful thing about our business is that we don't have to wonder if somebody is thinking about going on a diet. We don't have to wonder if someone is thinking about, getting on a new supplement program. We know that everyone we know is washing their face, all right? And we know they're all aging too. So wherever we go, we have kind of an amazing market of people to talk to, and lifestyle marketing is a big part of that. So I'm going to show you guys some pictures of the comp plan a little bit later, but I just want you to remember that our goal with that Spark program is to get that $1,000 bonus. It's kind of think of Noah's Ark. You want to bring them on 2 by 2. So you want to have 2 partners on board who are building with you. And the key to doing that is to overbuild, because not everyone will achieve the goals on the timeline that you need. So if you're wanting, 2 business partners and you want to get them both to executive consultant so you can get your bonus, I would recruit 4. Because 2 may not be able to do it on the timeline that you think, or they may, jump in and have some kind of family emergency and not be able to build at the pace that you were planning. So be smart and, build contingency and kind of overbuilding into your strategy. So on that tip part down there, I'll show you a visual that shows you kind of what these levels look like. All right. You just want to become a master inviter, guys. We want to reach out and then we want to drip on people. All right. I just put a couple tips in there, what that first, second, third reach out. The first one's probably sending a quick little message, asking, to have a conversation. The second invitation might be to learn more through an opportunity call or a three-way call. The fourth time you touch them might be to invite them to your launch event. And the fifth time might be to, hey, check out the solution tool. Let's see what regimen is right for you. Or you might send them a little clip of like the Oprah clip. We know from experience it takes 6 or 7 touches for them to even kind of be like clue in and be like, what is this person inviting me to? What are they doing? What is this all about? It takes a few touches. So I tell people, if you've only reached out to someone 2 or 3 times, all you've done is warm them up for somebody else. These numbers over on the side are kind of typical sales numbers, and so we know that 2% of people kind of close or make a decision on the first contact, but 80% are making some kind of decision on the 5th or between the 5th and 12th contact. And so that's a powerful number. And knowing that 99% of the people give up after only 2 follow-ups, they get discouraged. They get in their own head. They think all kinds of thoughts. Oh, they're just not that into me, or they're mad at me, or they're upset with what I said. None of that is true, and we need to kind of make sure we stay out of our own head on all that. Fortune's going to be in the follow-up for you guys, and that's what kind of that perspective and have faith. Setting a monthly pace of enrolling 2 to 3 new consultants. If you are a business builder, that's the pace you want to set. Pace duplicates. So if you want a team that's going to grow big and strong with you, then you've got to lead that way for them. And so you want to work with your sponsor to say, what does it take? How many more people do I need to talk to? Let's make this happen. And your sponsor is going to open up their schedule. You guys are going to do 3-way calls together. You're going to do launch events, Zoom events, whatever it takes to get more people in front of this business. All right. And usually a no means just not right now. All right. So not taking this business personally and just realizing our job is just to pour that copy. I do recommend creating a system that works for you. I don't coach a specific system. Some people want an Excel spreadsheet. Some people are analog. They like to write it down. I don't coach a specific system. There's even some services out there that are catered to our industry. I have a guy that uses index cards like brilliantly. So I really let that kind of system. But you do probably in your first couple of weeks to start thinking about, how am I going to keep track? How am I going to keep track of these names and these people and work a system that works for you? All right. All right. Let's talk just a little bit about, and again, I'm not going to go through each one of these examples because you're going to get a copy of this, but here's what I want you to know about this slide. Your team has your back. We have examples of language. And most of these quick little scripts, okay, I'll just kind of get into a couple of them, are really about just creating excitement and urgency. Hey, I've got some exciting news. I've started my own business and I'm excited to share it with you. And if they press a little further, you can say, yeah, we're really, we're disruptive in this small business space. It's e-commerce, kind of person-to-person business model in a huge marketplace. All right. So we're kind of using that language of excitement, that language of urgency. A lot of times we'll open with, I don't have a ton of time to talk, but I'm glad I caught you. You've always been so supportive of me, and I appreciate that so much. I've, made a decision to start an exciting new business venture, and I want to share some more of it with you. You guys, that first touch is really very light, and it's really just to create a little bit of intrigue and to see if they'll set a time to do an appointment. Because it's going to take 6 to 7 touches. So let's go ahead and use those strategically. All right, so this could even be a quick little message. Actually, I think these are a little bit long for a Facebook message. I like messages to be able to be read at a stoplight. So it could be something just as quick as, hey, I'm doing a fun little, girls' night out at my house on Sunday. Want to see if you're free. Are you home this afternoon? I'll give you a call. So it's those quick kind of messages that allow you to really jump on the phone so they can hear your voice. What else? You know, running out the door or running to a meeting. You know, we kind of let people know we're busy too, and it really lightens the mood. You know, I want to catch you really quick. You're one of the smartest people I know, and I want to run something by you. It doesn't have to be more complicated than that. Okay? If they press you a little further, I say, you know what, I want to chat with you. I'm really looking to build a team. I want to grow this Southern California market. I want to grow this Las Vegas market. And here's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for successful, educated, smart, savvy, fun individuals. And maybe when we talk tomorrow, I can go into it in more detail. You know, work to kind of set that next appointment. There's a couple of reasons for that. Is now you have permission. Sorry, there's dogs barking outside my window. Sound like they're in a fight. So I put this cool little graphic here that actually talks about, I have a lot of people ask me like, well, who are the people that really do this? And these statistics are amazing. You know, 58% of our field are between 26 and 45. 40% of them have a bachelor or master's. And 41% of our field has a household income already over 100,000. So guys, you know, we're looking for professional, smart, savvy, you know, people who are looking to diversify, who are kind of looking for their next thing, who are looking ahead into the future, or the retirement or whatever. So I think that's important. I love kind of keeping that in mind about who, you know, what constitutes the field. 70% are already working full time. 67 of us have never had any previous sales experience. Not that I can direct sales, but no sales experience. And 83% of the field that's already in recommend that everybody else should do it too. I think that's a great number. All right. But I love kind of having this kind of urgent language. Let's go a little bit deeper. One of the things that I feel can stall sometimes new consultants is, you know, knowing exactly what to say. And I really encourage them to think about what to ask. I think it was John Maxwell that said this, that people don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care. And so I love kind of building that rapport, talking about, you know, what vacations are planning for the summer, asking them if they have time to chat, getting that permission up front. You know, can I share my new passion? You know, I thought it might be intriguing to someone you know. You know, I'd love to chat and see if this is a good fit. I don't know if it is. And so I'm always kind of asking those questions. And then a little bit, actually, if you look at the list, it kind of starts off kind of fluffy and relationship building at the top, and then it kind of moves down into more specific. I think I designed that on purpose. But, you know, so those questions could build over time or through a course of conversations. You know, what would you do with an extra, you know, $2,000 to $5,000 a month? Would that make a difference in your life? Those are kinds of questions you might ask on a three-way call. If I sent you a quick video, or if I sent you this little information call, would you take 15 minutes to watch it? Great. Okay, I'll follow up. So really coming into this with this kind of curious and rapport building mindset. Okay. I'll keep rolling. I still have some dogs barking outside my window. I apologize. Okay. And then there's the whole kind of just, and again, sometimes the hardest thing is just to start the conversation. Like once it gets going, like it can flow, right? Because they ask questions and you think of things that you hadn't thought of and the dynamic of that conversation. But sometimes, how do I even get it rolling? And so here are like some great examples. You know, I'm excited to do some things on my terms this year, right? What a great thing to maybe sit around while you're, you know, having girls' night out or, you know, dinner with friends or whatever. Just go, we're just so excited because we're finally doing stuff on our terms this year. And you let it hang out there. What are they going to say? Well, what does that mean? What do you mean you're doing stuff on your terms? You know, what is that all about, right? So you're kind of setting your, you know, your audience up to ask more questions. Who do you know? You know, you lean in with, you know, who do you know in Calgary? Well, why are you asking? Why do you want to know if I know anybody in, you know, Melbourne? You know, I'm in real estate, but my real passion is helping others start and run their own business. What do you mean? They know what real estate's about, but they don't know what helping others start and run their own business is about. So sometimes just putting some information out there to get them to ask you a question. The favorite one that we have for the husbands is, you know, we don't, I know sometimes the wives are like, what can I do to get my husband to, I go, you know what? You give him 4 words. She's never been happier. right? And they'll be like, well, what do you mean she's never been happier? Well, great. Well, your wife needs to talk to my wife, because if you want, if you want your wife to never been happier, those two need to talk. So it's, taking my future in my own hands, just having these really kind of nice phrases. So all these are written down for you guys. I use all of these. These are all in my report. I'm interviewing smart, savvy entrepreneurial types who want to work with purpose and passion. If I'm in a networking function, those are the kinds of things that I talk about. All right. I work with 2 world famous dermatologists. What do you do? World famous, who's that? Dermatology, what do they do? All those kinds of things kind of come pouring out of just starting the conversation. Sometimes we do have to make a bit of a pitch. Hey, I'm working with these 2 world famous dermatologists. I'd love to get your point of view on this. Do you have time to have coffee next week, or can you swing by, and take a look at what I'm doing? You have to initiate that. But sometimes, in most of the conversations we have with people, we just want to get it started and see where it goes. Okay? All right. Once you get that conversation started, you guys, we're in the inviting business. I'm not in the convincing business. I'm not in the selling business. I'm just in the inviting business. So down at the bottom, I put, what are all the things you could invite them to? I mean, there is no lack of things. And that's, I think, where as consultants, we have to kind of get strategic as we talk to different people and go, is this someone that I'm going to send them, a link to the Oprah magazine article? Or did they show enough interest in the business that I need to send them a link to Romy's closing call? Are they someone that I can invite to the Denver business presentation, and they might, take a friend and go, even though I don't live in Denver? And I built a huge team by doing that, inviting people to events around the country. They attend even though I'm not there, and they sign up underneath me at the event. Launch events, a corporate meeting, to have coffee, to complete your solution tool. So when you look at that list of things you can invite somebody to, think about, again, going back to the 7 touches, you have so many things to kind of drip on them with, or to check out, and to ask them to do. The most powerful of all of them, and I think it's on the next slide, is the 3-way call. Oh, there it is. Okay. So if you want success faster, the surefire way to build your business quicker is events and 3-way calls, because they actually do the same thing. They kind of serve the same function, because they bring people together. And a 3-way call, it's, you and your business partner and them. Or if it's an event, they get to look around the room and see other smart, savvy people doing this business. So a business event is like a 3-way call on steroids. But here's why we love 3-way calls. They're easy to duplicate. They're super easy to do from anywhere, anytime, on your commute, wherever. And you're not waiting for a meeting. You're not waiting for the next event. You can just go ahead and have folks jump on a quick call, validate the business. So we find that when we do big events, we ask the room, how many of you did a 3-way call before joining? 65% of consultants in the field all did a 3-way call before joining the business. So that speaks to what a powerful, powerful tool that is going to be for you, because it's a massive, massive closing tool. And you want to work with your, your immediate upline sponsor. Make sure you guys, sync up on calendars. There's a couple ways you can do them. You can schedule them, or you can do them impromptu. And impromptu, the only thing that's required is that you have your business partner kind of on deck. Hey, I'm going to be making calls from 4 to 5 this afternoon. If you're free, you'll see my number come through, or you schedule it in advance. All right. We recommend, again, do you want to go a little faster? Do more 3-way calls. I love just setting goals for 3-way calls. Like, I'm just going to do 3 this week. I don't know who they're going to be. I don't know how I'm going to get them on that call, but by God, I'm not going to let, next Friday go by without getting those 3-way calls done. That's how I was with Romy. And I know we did at least 7 or 8 3-way calls in my first week. All right. And we got off to that fast start, because what it allowed me to do was put my phone on mute and listen to Romy talk to my potential business partner, potential customer. And I remember I just transcribed. I was just like, I was typing. And by the end of, a couple of calls, I had a full script on what to say and how to answer questions. It helps you learn how to answer objections, builds that rapport, and it's really easy to kind of lead to that next step. All right. Train your potential partners before they even realize they're joining the business, okay? And really showcases. When we say this is a team sport, they feel it. We walk that walk on the three-way call. All right. And what happens on it, if they're really, they're really simple, and you'll learn, and then you'll end up doing them, pretty quickly, as your team begins to grow. If it takes you a little while to get comfortable with them, your upline will do them, a level deep into your downline. That's fine. That's not uncommon. There's an introduction that happens in the beginning that's like, oh, here's so-and-so, and here's how we know each other, and here's how we know each other, and it's so great that we could all get together. And then usually the upline partner asks a couple questions, kind of builds rapport, asks what was compelling, and then we share our story, we share our perspective on this, and then we kind of see what questions they still have to see if this is a good fit for them. We even say, do you have any concerns? Are there any reasons, why you wouldn't consider doing this? Our job is to draw those objections out. That's the most powerful thing you can do, is know what's on their mind. All right, so that's the power of the three-way call. Here's your business launch event. This little document over here is actually on the Dream Team 2.0 page. So you don't have to recreate this. The colorful, and it actually is a little bit longer, but I actually interviewed all our top level 5 leaders on all these subjects to ask, what are your best tips? So there's some great tips in there, but just a reminder, we call it a launch, not a party. And here's why. Because we tell people we're not a party plan. We're a business in a box. You don't have to carry inventory, all those things. So we try not to use the word party. Not that you can't have a party. You totally can have a friend host something for you. It's just not built into our business model. We don't have hostess gifts and trunk shows, that kind of thing. So we kind of use more of business terminology, and we find that works really well. All right, and we call it your BLE, or business launch event. Just lets people know you're open for business. You can create paper invitations, are kind of old school, but they work well. You can create a digital invitation. You can create a Facebook event. You can create an Evite. So we have all kinds of ways that we can be really efficient and inviting a lot of people at one time. And I encourage you, don't just invite people in your neighborhood. Alert your network that you're open for business, because they can participate in that launch event by, if we do a little gift with purchase, or, a little presentation, we could always, digitally kind of bring them in, and the least case, create that kind of intrigue. Post it out on your Facebook page, those kinds of things. So this is a really easily duplicatable thing for your team. And we recommend hosting 2 to 3 of these in your first 30 to 60 days. And part of the reason is, especially for the preferred customer builders, is, remember, our customers order every other month. So I'm putting a little idea in your head for the future, but team leaders, you want to build a really solid, sustainable business. So when you have a new partner come in, you want to make sure they've got orders in the current month and new orders coming in the next month, so they are a really super solid executive consultant for you. That's the real power of doing those 2 events. Some people like to do one on, Sunday afternoon and one Monday night, because they've got everything set up in their home, and people can't come Sunday, then they can come to the Monday one, and they get really smart and strategic about it. All right. And then just some other strategies: over invite and over confirm. The big thing about your launch is that yes means maybe, and maybe means no. And I think where some folks get into trouble is they feel they have a bunch of maybes, and so they think they're yeses, and then they buy 10 bottles of wine, and 2 people show up. So we want to make sure that we, circle back with them. Hey, do you drink red or white wine? I'm at Costco. I'm grabbing the goods for tomorrow night. Want to make sure you're coming. You're bringing your neighbor, right? You're bringing your sister. You can't do it all digitally. Digitally helps you kind of get the word out, but you got to lock in those RSVPs with the phone. What you want is, I'll be there. I would love to be there. I'm there for you. I got your back, right? That's what you want from that audience, okay? And keep it simple. Don't go overboard. Don't rent a hotel room. Don't go to any expense. Don't worry about being perfect or any of those things, because actually the more kind of imperfect you are, sorry, I'm working on my light here. No, it's not working. The more imperfect you are, the more duplicatable you are. So the less you spend and the more minimalist you really are with this thing. I mean, I'm all about serving some wine and some cheese and crackers, but don't go overboard. Don't make lasagna. Don't, because then the food becomes kind of the center of attention. Just keep it simple. All right. Have folks come in. You're going to share your story, share your products. You're going to Zoom in your business partner, or they're going to be there with you. And, we're really going to open it up after we do kind of a product share, a story share. People are going to gravitate over to a display, and they're going to want to put their hands on this stuff. All right. And we have a whole workbook, for everyone on this team that really goes into like what you print and what to have ready and all those kinds of things. The most important thing you can do in getting ready is just maybe practice and role play your short story. All right. With your business partner, because we have some tips and things, for you about your story that we want to make sure that you include certain things and kind of leave out certain things. A great example would be, here's a great example. And we get this a lot. So people, they stand in front of the group and like, I'm so excited you're here. And, thanks for coming to my launch. And here's my story. I was a preferred customer for about 18 months. And then I decided to join the business. Well, what you're cueing your audience to do is wait 18 months and then join the business, okay? So we want to help you kind of work your story a little bit so that it's still accurate and authentic, but we leave out maybe some of those timing details so people go, oh, I'm going to jump in just like she did, or I'm going to jump right into the products. Oh, my friend reached out to me 5 or 6 times and I told her, no, I wasn't interested in the products. And then, oh, I'm so glad I finally. You don't want to cue them that way. You want to say, what, as soon as I took that solution tool and knew that I was a redefined customer, I started using it, loved it, and then I thought to myself, why not do the business? So you're leaving out all the time frame in there. So those are kind of those things that as leaders, we want to help you just polish that story. So when you go in, you're cueing your audience to do the things you want them to do, which is by then, they don't have to, we're not trying to convince them, but we want to tee them up for that, right? We don't want to tee them up to go home and think about it for a couple days and take a couple months to, come back around. We want them to act then and there. All right. Okay. So, I have a little typo there with my logo. Okay. Okay. So now if you're watching on the replay and those of you that are on live, we're going to kind of switch gears a little bit. So I'm going to give you a minute to take a sip of something. And we're going to go in one level deeper. So if you're watching on the replay, this would be a good time to go, wow, I learned a lot in those last 2 sessions. And I'm going to bookmark this and come back. So I'm going to go in a little bit deeper on, because I've talked about, you want to become an executive consultant. What does that mean? Bridget talked about, earning a trip when you hit level 5. What does that look like? So we're going to kind of go into the programs Rodan Fields has for us, how to advance in title in the business and earn more money, and how to maximize our compensation plan, okay? And kind of growing that big volume. And that's really the last section. And then we'll just have a couple closing remarks and some to-dos. And I'm running a little bit longer than I wanted to, but I appreciate you guys staying on with me. Hopefully Zoom will be able to save this file. All right. So executive consultant is really kind of the baseline, kind of powerful title in our company. And we have some great documents and files on the, kind of how to get to EC and level 2. And we really want to help consultants achieve executive consultant in their first, really couple weeks of business. It's not a Herculean effort, all right? I mean, definitely there's some effort and there's some inviting. But I love this get to EC in 1, 2, 3. And basically how you do it is you're either going to create loyal customers or you're going to enroll new consultants or some combination. So I like under number 2 how they show it's about maybe 4 orders, maybe bundles or, a regimen and an eye cream or a regimen and a lash boost. About 4 of those are going to give you the qualifying volume. And the qualifying volume is our wholesale volume that puts your PSQV number above 600. 600 is the magic number. And it's about 4 customers. All right, we did a training call this week, and our guest, her sister just joined and had 4 customers in 2 days. This is not Herculean. we recommend, creating kind of a dirt list, which is people who would buy dirt from you when you first start. And usually that's where those first 4 orders come from, right? Or just those dear friends who want to support you in business. They have skin, they're aging, and they're ready to try something new. Okay. And so about 4 of those orders is going to push you over 600. But one consultant doing one thing, enrolling one consultant, will get you to EC. All right. And it can be a combination. Most of us in our first month have a new business partner and a couple customers, or we have, 4 or 5 customers in our first month of business. Really significant. And I want to point out that our customers on an annualized basis our commission per customer is around $400 a customer. So, I tell people, if you bring on 4 customers in your first week of business, you give yourself a $1,600 raise for the year. That's not chump change, right? It's probably more than you jumped into the business to earn, but to do that much work and then create that residual over an annual basis is really powerful. Okay. Sorry, I was playing around with my logo and I missed this logo in the middle of the page. All right. Spark is about getting to EC. So creating some loyal customers, enrolling a new business partner, and just getting that done in your first full month of business. Your enrollment month is month 0, and your next month. So, we coach getting there a lot faster than even the programs in Rodan and Fields reward you for. But we want to get to that EC mark as quickly as possible, because we know momentum, create that check story, pace is what duplicates, momentum duplicates. And then our Spark, in order to earn the bonus, that requires recruiting. So if you're really more of a preferred customer, you want to I'm happy to build a really nice preferred customer business, then Spark is you'll get the first piece of Spark, you'll get the glow kits. And they're really cute little sample kits. But if you add a new business partner and help them hit the EC mark, the executive consultant mark, so they're going to sell a handful of regimens or enroll a business partner, you'll be level 1. And when your second business partner does it, you're level 2. So you get a $400 bonus when you have one person underneath you building the business. You enroll them, but you have to help them launch and build the business. And then when your second partner comes on board, you get another little set of Give It a Glow kits. You get a $600 bonus, and you earn a cool training with the company. And hitting that level 2 mark, and you can do it faster. You can certainly do it faster than 3 months, and some people do. But that's the power of executive consultant in level 2, because we're really teaching people, oh, this is what it takes. It starts to kind of give you a feel. What does it take to bring on 2 business partners? How many conversations does that have? I find that about 7 to 10 3-way calls, you're going to find your first 2 partners. That's my experience. Now, how many people do you have to talk to get 10 3-way calls? Maybe 50, maybe 30 conversations. It just kind of depends on how ready your network is. We're drilling for oil, and we're all going to kind of hit, a different well as we build this. It's up to you to figure out how ready your network is. I love this photo. It's an oldie. It doesn't even exist anymore. So some of us that are old timers, we have this photo in our files. I just love it. I always have. A lot of people ask, well, how do we make money? Like, what is this business model really about? And so when I'm talking to people on a call, or I'll ask them to draw that little axis. I'll say, just draw a little XY axis. And we earn 4 different ways. We earn retail profit on our preferred customers. When we hit executive consultant, when we're a consultant and we're under 600, we earn 10% commission. When we're executive consultant, we bump that up to 15% commission. All right, so that's pretty cool on our frontline business. All right, so you're going to earn retail profit plus commissions, and when those 2 are added together, we're earning around 30% on that product business. Okay, and then we get executive payouts on our generations, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It actually comes out to 6 levels in our organization, because we have our personal team plus 5 generations below. And we earn 5% of every transaction that happens in our business, every product transaction, every new consultant that joins the business, every consultant order. that runs through. And a business the size of, mine, as long as I've been in it, it's a pretty big number. And that's your organizational volume. And that's the path. That third quadrant is more the path to wealth, whereas the preferred customer business can be some very powerful kind of lifestyle, maybe some travel money, adventure, shopping, pay the bills kind of thing. But, big time college money, retirement money, those kinds of things, wealth building will come through that executive payout, because those numbers can get really massive over time. And then we get paid bonuses and incentives. So I like to let people know that it's a really diversified comp plan. You can earn lots of different ways. You can build this any way you want, and we're here to support you in doing that. So we're not scaring someone into thinking they have to recruit to be successful. You can build a really nice preferred customer business and let that grow organically. Or you can jump in and say, nope, I'm going for the big money right out of the gates. And either way, you decide to do that, okay? So I just put a couple little notes down below each one of those. Your preferred customers, they're coming through your .com site. You have full visibility into all those orders, all your commissions, everything in your back office, okay? Your business partners are going to roll through your .biz site. You're going to help them select a business kit. I'm going to give you some tips a little later on building big volume. Help them decide on a custom URL, and then we're going to help them leverage this diversified comp plan. Okay. We talk often, I don't know why this logo, I think I was playing around with it. It just dropped in there, but it's not too in the way. We like this bucket analogy in our company. We kind of talk about filling your buckets. So at the end of the month, we're always encouraging our teams to make sure their buckets are filled, which means your SV is your bucket to personally fill. And when you enroll on a business kit, it fills that bucket. When you roll on a business kit, SV is going to be 600 or 900, depending on which kit you came in on. Ongoing, when you subscribe to Pulse or you do your CRP or replenishment orders, it's also going to fill that bucket. So we fill our own personal bucket. And then the other bucket is our PSQV, stands for Personally Sponsored Qualifying Volume. Sorry about all the acronyms, but it'll become old hat in a while. PC orders, new enrollments, and then anything your consultants purchase into the future, fill your PSQV bucket. So once you have a couple customers and a couple business partners, that PSQV kind of goes in your rearview mirror, and you're really no longer worried about it. It's like, and you'll see on our team pages, we do fun things like, because the company says 600 by the end of the month, but we recognize 600 by the 6th. We recognize having a 1500 PSQV by the 15th of the month. We do fun things to help you fill that volume earlier in the month, so you kind of leave more of the month to keep building and create greater volume. We find that strategy is really important. So you'll see us doing that, and we'll encourage those leaders to really jump in and grab a hold of those fun recognition opportunities. And that just happens in the community and on the team pages. All right. So those are our two buckets. You're going to hear about this over and over. So don't feel like, oh, did I get all that? And then just a review on the Spark program. I guess what I want to say is we have great, what do we call them, programs. There's something for everyone. Spark is for our business builders, want to get out of the gates quickly, earn that kit back with that $1,000 bonus plus commissions. We have a great program called Lead the Way. The company's done something smart, and if you participate in Spark, you automatically earn some Lead the Way miles. Think of Lead the Way miles like, kind of like airline miles, but the company creates some really cool swag, and one of them is a trip to Cancun, and another is a full expense paid trip to New Orleans for convention. And so Lead the Way is a way for you to earn kind of miles that convert into prizes. And I just recommend going through that with your sponsor on that. But, 10 preferred customers earned you 2 miles, for example. And so, a handful of miles gets you some really cool prizes with the company, and they kind of grow over time. And these things just show up in the mail, and some people don't even know how they earned them. But that's Lead the Way. So you can earn Lead the Way miles and really fun prizes and swag through building a customer base and also building that balanced business with consultants. So Lead the Way can be really powerful. And then we have big travel and trips, and I kind of mentioned that earlier. So there's really something for everyone in our business. And my recommendation is, jumping on one, the other, all of the above. I ran for everything shiny. We call it, the shiny object syndrome. The Lexus was out there. We ran for that. Trip to Napa and a big leadership retreat. We ran for that. I run for these Lead the Way miles. I'm 7.5 years in the business, and I still love getting this fun swag from the company. So if I'm ending the month with 9 orders, I make sure I have 10 so I can get my Lead the Way miles and get my fun swag in the mail. So just some fun programs, and we find that those high earners and those high achievers jump on all these programs and run with them. Talk about high achievers. Okay, I pulled this out of our comp plan. There is a document in your back office that has 10 or 12 page brochure. We talk a lot about level 5. So I want to take a moment just to show you what level 5 looks like. You're at the top of this. And I always like to think of that front line as like my cabinet, like my leadership team, right? And so it's also called your level 1, or your personal team. And here's and I'm not gonna, because down below is really just how those can grow over time. My organization now has over 17,000 people in it. And so I earn on a big chunk of that. I don't earn on all of it. But that's what happens, is it duplicates and duplicates and duplicates and duplicates. And it's a cool thing. But we're just going to kind of focus on that level 1 line, a little bit on that level 2. So if you count the consultants that are kind of shaded dark, I don't know if you can see my pointer, but so you have the first level 1 EC. So that's your first, so that's EC number 1. And when that person becomes EC, that you become a level 1. What's interesting are the grayed out people. They're people that you bring on board that might just end up buying wholesale, or maybe they're the ones that don't get to EC as quickly. So that's why I was telling you about, overbuild a little bit, because you just never know if people are going to do this on your timeline or not. All right. If you're like, oh, by the end of the month, I'm shooting for this bonus and I'm going to recruit a person and get them to executive consultant. Well, your timing might not be their timing. They might join you in business, but they may not have time to launch it and to get that 600 underneath them. So kind of overbuilding is a great strategy. But if you notice across the top, I have to count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 of them that are dark, and that means they've achieved their EC status. And there's a couple that are gray, which means they might achieve it in the future. Maybe they just came on to get the discount. Whatever the reason is, they joined you, but they haven't popped that 600 in volume. What our compensation plan allows for, and this I want you to just look at level 2 just for a minute, is you could have someone that joins you and they maybe recruit someone, but they don't really hold on to their EC status. That person underneath can qualify you for your title, which is very cool. So if you do have someone that joins and kind of gets distracted, doesn't end up really building this consistently long-term, but they add somebody underneath them, that person underneath can qualify you for your level 5 title. So they show 2 examples of that on your second level, where the person underneath ends up building and the person that you brought in doesn't, which is a pretty cool thing about our comp plan. Okay, so it allows people on both your first and second levels to qualify you for your title. Now, if the person, so on your second level, that first little EC there, if the person above them, comes around and gets to EC, then they will become your executive consultant and qualify you for your title. So when you have 1 EC underneath you, you're called a level 1. When you have 2 of them, you're a level 2. And from there, it jumps up by 2. When you have 4 ECs, you're a level 3. All right, when you have 6, you're a level 4. When you have 8, you're a level 5. So for those of you that want to, build big, build that bigger volume, we know that having 8 business builders direct to you helps you roll into that bigger volume, move towards a Lexus, move towards some of the trips and the bigger paychecks, okay? So for those of you that are thinking along those lines, that's what this is about. This chart really doesn't take into account preferred customers, although preferred customers create that executive consultant volume in many cases. But all right, and we will review this over and over again. You will not just see this one time, but I do like to show what does level 5 look like, and it's 8 business builders that are showing up on your personal team, or if your personal team recruits someone and they don't grow, that person underneath them could qualify you too. So someone you don't even know could qualify you for your title. And then just tips to build, bigger volume. Offer the bundles, offer a regimen and a lash boost, offer a regimen and an AMP MD. When we bundle these things, our customers save 20% instead of 10%. So anytime there's a Rodan & Fields bundle, it's a win-win. But you want to upsell those regimen boosters like Active Hydration and Bright Eye and Lash Boost. That's why you want to get that big kit so that you're using all that stuff. And then you can tell people, oh, do you have a great eye cream? Because I'm loving our eye cream. Or we need to add that Active Hydration. It's the most amazing thing. So you want to be using those extra things in your kit along with your regimen so that, or use the sunless tanner and the microderm paste, especially as we're getting close to summertime, really showcase those things. Because that's what's going to help kind of keep growing that volume. We kind of call it, and fries with that, right? So we want to be that team that's like, we sell the fries, right? We do the meal. And then you want to enroll in that RFX kit. All right, the kit you enroll on is what typically duplicates because your network's going to ask you, what kit did you come in on? And so coming in on the RFX, coming in on that BBL kit are going to be the most important. Our team, honestly, we do not recruit people on the $395 kit. We just don't. It's not fair to them. It doesn't give them enough product. And we don't want a $395 kit duplicating, and we never bring anybody in on the $45 kit. We put in too much time. We pour in too much into these team members for them to come in on a brochure. All right, it's not even a kit. It's a brochure. But it is offered by the company, by law. We have to offer, a brochure for $45, and you can be in the business for that. But if you're a business builder, you want people to jump in, have skin in the game, and have a duplicatable model, okay? That's it for the heavy stuff, guys. And then I just have a couple little next steps for you. It's just make sure you're setting aside time for the business. You do have some hours of operation, so think about when you're going to find those little pockets of time, 30 minutes here, an hour here, those kinds of things. Remember to spend about 80% of your time prospecting, and the rest is personal development or helping your team, working with that kind of purpose and intent. By the way, share your why with your upline. There's a great Harvard Business Review study that talks about what happens when you have a goal. And if you have a goal and you keep it to yourself, like you decide you're gonna run a marathon, but you don't tell anybody, your chances of actually achieving that goal are right around 25%. If you tell a bunch of people that you're going to run a marathon, your chances of achieving that goal actually go up dramatically to about 55, 60%. But if you share that goal with someone else, if someone else is invested in your goal, this Harvard Business Study Review says you have about an 88% chance of reaching that goal. So how awesome is that? So get out there and share that why, share the goals that you have for the business, and talk about it and declare them and share them with other people. All right. I'm going to encourage you to plug into training. You can pick your training. You do not have to do them all. We don't all have time to do everything. Romy and Sarah both have trainings on Sunday night. If you're more kind of ministry minded, I think you'll love Sarah Robbins' call. If you're more kind of business hardcore minded, you're going to love Romy's call. I do a call on Friday mornings where I love to feature different business builders in the field, and we really talk about relevant issues for the week, heavy duty kind of training and system based, along with some great inspirational stories. And then we have a phenomenal website page called The Daily Experience, where RFX leaders, there's now a couple hundred of us, so it takes about a year for us to rotate through. I think I've been on there twice. And they train every day, Monday through Friday. Super powerful 20-minute, bites that you can grab a hold of, be inspired by, run with, and share with your team. So we love The Daily Experience. It's been a game changer for the field. So if you're not on that page, we'll make sure and get you on there. And just a reminder to dream big. For us, I have some pictures from our family from all over the world and trips. All these are trips we've won, by the way. We haven't paid a dime for any of these photos, except the one of us outstanding in our field. But whether it was a trip to Thailand or Australia or a free trip to Cancun to go scuba diving with our kids, or Sydney, all these have been paid for by Rodan & Fields. It's been extraordinary. But I want to encourage you to just remember, it's a business. It's going to take some time to build it. Be patient, be nice to yourself in the process, give yourself time to be successful. And that success is really measured any way you want. I mean, I honestly felt very successful the minute I joined. I felt successful because I was taking my future into my own hands, and that's how I chose to define it. I wasn't successful when I was earning $1,000 a month or $10,000 a month. it was really, I was successful because I had made the decision. And so just remember how powerful it is to just be decisive and to have your network, you know, kind of want to follow in your steps of having a vision, having a plan, and going about achieving it. So be relentless with those dreams, you know, share them, and don't be afraid to fail forward. You know, the fastest path to success is failure. Oh, I hate to tell you that. Seth Godin writes a lot about that in his book called The Big Dip. But the way to get from A to B is through the dip, and is through the learning curve of kind of learning this business and practice. And what's the word? You know, exercise your resiliency muscle. You know, you're going to get some no's, and be ready. And I'm just going to tell you right now, you're going to get those no's, and be ready and understand they're not about you. Understand it's usually because they don't understand our business model, and it takes a little time to open that door and make that happen. But trust in this process and trust in your consistency. So a little bit of homework. So make sure you explore your why. Declare your success and share it. One of my favorite tips, and this is, I don't know if this was a Harvard business study. It was another big, big study on triggers and success triggers, is put your why in your home screen. I put a couple examples, whether it's travel or whether it's you're doing something for your kids or their education or something for your family. But make sure your why is right here, because this is where all the action happens in your business every day. You're either opening this up to send a text, to, you know, look up somebody on Facebook, to friend them, call them on the phone. So you want your why sitting right here inside your phone. So you're looking at it, you know, 100 times a day and reminding you. So the study is, you know, we all have the ability, you know, we all have the motivation, and what we need is the trigger. And so the trigger is seeing that photo over and over again. And just a reminder to commit to daily personal development. I'm actually going to recommend a book to all of you guys, and it's on audio if you like audio. I love the written version too, but actually this mug is from there. The book is called Get Over Your Damn Self. It is written by my upline, Romy Neustadt, and you can find it on Amazon. Carpe at effing diem is one of the chapters in her book. And it's really a badass book about how to build Rodan Fields. And it doesn't say Rodan Fields in the book due to, you know, whatever, you know, copywriting or, you know, logistics within the company. But every step in that book is how to build this business. So I want you to, you know, commit to daily personal development. And that includes just reading a couple chapters of a good book, go listening to Simon Sinek, Brene Brown, you know, just making sure that you're filling your mind with really positive, inspiring content that helps drive you forward in your business. So let's all get over our damn selves and get on with this. So anyway, I want to thank everyone for being on with me live. You know what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take some questions, but I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. So hold on one second. Let me stop recording. All right. Bye, everyone.